Look at you, all sad, deflated, and worn down. You are the epitome of a weak man, and it directly affects your ego and, in turn, your love life. And the thing is, you're not the only one. You're just one of many modern men who have been thoroughly stripped of their masculinity. On the flip side, take a look at contemporary women. Women have never been more feminine than nowadays, and their ego has never been as strong as it is today. The market has turned upside down, while the demands of both sexes haven't changed. And the thing is, you need to act upon that. Women are actively looking for men with strong egos that will allow them to be the submissive ones in the relationship. Today, we'll show you the easiest ways you can become the leader in a relationship, as well as how to fully deconstruct a woman's ego. The essence, dominance. Like it or not, the key to being successful at dating is to be the dominant person, no matter what. Women love dominant men, and you need to be one to attract them. Now let's clear up what dominance means. Being dominant doesn't equal being violent to a woman. It's quite the opposite. To be dominant, you need to be much more focused on proving natural dominance through decision-making, through the way you talk, walk, the way you carry yourself. Dominant and confident men don't lash out at women. That's something little wussies do to establish their dominance the only way they can, by utilizing their physical strength over those who are weaker. To me, there is nothing that is a greater manifestation of weakness than that. It makes you look cornered and without other options. Now, what do you need to do? Well, you will need to develop 4 other qualities if you want to be perceived as a properly dominant force. You will need to be unpredictable, active, capable of leading, and capable of establishing a balance. So let's start with the first and the easiest step you can implement. Step 1. Unpredictability. To truly deconstruct and destroy a woman's ego, you will have to become unpredictable. And by that, we don't mean unpredictably manic or violent you barbarian. We mean you have to constantly keep her guessing what's your next move. This introduces a power dynamic into a relationship, which is a rare sight nowadays, and is one of the key reasons why women keep being disinterested in men. We've just become incredibly predictable as a whole. The beauty of this is that it is extremely easy to be unpredictable. It's very natural too. Just don't create a behavioral pattern. For example, if you establish communication with a girl you like, you should constantly switch the way you communicate. For example, you should text her at the beginning intensely, and once your communication feels the sweetest, you should end it. Because if you find the way you communicate nice, she will too. The question is, does she like it as a friend or as a desire? A friend is something you can rely on constantly, whereas an object of desire, i.e. you, is something that is just ever so slightly out of reach. That's why you need to make her crave your attention and not feel like you're constantly there for her. Then, after you've established that kind of dynamic, I want you to stop answering her for a day or 2. She might contact you herself or might not contact you, but that's not what matters. What matters is you just don't talk to her no matter what. This way, you'll both keep her doubtful about herself and make her crave you even more, while also giving out a perception of being busy and working, which is always attractive. Step 2. Activity. Again, modern women are very ambitious, and a way to deflate their ego is to make them feel like they are less ambitious than you. Now, you won't do this by talking about your ambition and your ideas, but by acting upon them. The best thing you can do is step forward and do something for a change, and then not talk about it, but show it. Hit the gym, go feed the puppies, start working a freelance gig, part-time gig, or full-time job, and just make yourself active in both your and their eyes. And if you're too young to have a job, have a goddamn hobby for once. And no, gaming isn't a hobby. That's a time waster 9-10 times, not a passion. Start playing tennis, start training MMA, start writing. Heck, do something productive. This way you'll amplify the idea of you being busy and you will be more interesting to women. Also, above all else, you'll become much more interesting to yourself. No matter what anybody says, activity is the true way out of depression, sadness, and despair. Our bodies aren't designed to sit all day and do nothing, and the sooner you realize that, the better. That said, you must be something else if you want to properly get under a girl's skill. You need to be a true leader, and despite what everybody else tells you, leaders are made, they're not born. Step 3. Leadership. The key to being a leader is to be a decision maker and to stick to the decisions you've made. That's called integrity and courage, and those two things are what women love to see in men and what true leaders are made from. And the best thing about this, being a leader with a woman is much easier than anything else because, as I've previously mentioned, women like dominant men. The easy thing is that you don't need to introduce accountability to your decisions when talking to a woman, because when it comes down to these white decisions, there is no accountability for you to take. You'll be responsible for making decisions like where you'll be going out when going on a date, suggesting what you'll be eating and drinking, etc. For example, next time you're going out on a date, instead of asking, "Where do you want to go?" say, "Let's go to this place." A relationship, at least in its early stages, isn't a democracy. It is a pure hierarchy, because you need to show yourself as being capable of being independent when making decisions. Plus, this way you will also be developing your leadership skills as well as your determination for other spheres of your life, and not just your love life. That said, you shouldn't stick to your decisions like they're glue. If a woman suggests something else, you should show some adaptability and accept it, especially if there is a good reason she doesn't like your decision. This way, you will also represent yourself as someone who can be very adaptable and considerate, which is, once again, very comforting. And if you're in it for the long run, comfort and adaptability are something a woman will be looking for too, which brings us to the next and final step for today. Step 4, balance. If you want to truly deconstruct a woman's ego, the best way you can do it is to be balanced in all of the previous spheres we've mentioned. You see, if you're overly confident non-stop, if you push your dominance over a woman constantly, you will eventually become tired of yourself, because you will have become stale and predictable in a way. Overdoing stuff, no matter how good they are, will make you boring or exhausting. You know how they say, even a remedy becomes poison when taken in excess. By striking a balance, you will be able to shift quickly between being strict, adaptable, comforting, and incorruptible. This will give you a Swiss knife level of versatility, and there is nothing more attractive to a woman than a man who is capable of doing everything while remaining cool-headed about everything. Also, balance will make you much more stoic towards yourself, and you will be much harder to hurt, sway, or manipulate, because whatever you're doing or believe in isn't going to be concrete. It's going to be extremely fluid and will increase your overall capability. And once again, there is nothing more attractive than a man who is capable of being everything in one. This is by far the hardest step to take, because it means you will have to constantly micromanage yourself. However, once you've established it, it will become second nature, and you will be able to completely automatically strike a balance, as well as understand what situation requires any of your set of skills, and in what measure. Once you've established balance, you will feel so adaptable in the best way possible that you will bring so much reassurance to your partner that she won't be able to resist the urge to be completely comfortable next to you and ready to completely strip her ego from her character for you. That said, to do all of this, you will need to change your habits and turn yourself into a properly confident person. If you think you've got the guts to do so, I dare you to check out this video.